Welcome, 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 ladies, to the show. I am so excited to have you guys for my season finale of Queen's Table Talk, one and all. Let's do our cheers and our clap for the ladies in the building today. I have next to me Hanan Merabi. We've got Natalie Lamb in the building. We have Jamie Smith in the building, and we have Tedrah Paul. Welcome, 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 one and all. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Fantastic.
Doing
Great.
well.
I'm so
Good.
excited to have you guys in the building. I am excited to have you in the building. Oh, we got people already in the building. Welcome, Chronicles of a Virgo. Welcome, Intellectual Soapbox. Welcome, Miss Riri. Thank you guys for joining the show. Share, share, share with your friends. Share with your friends. So, guys, starting with you, Hanan, introduce yourself to the people and tell them what you do.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Once again, this is my second time speaking with you and so appreciate the platform. Like you said, my name is Hanan Merabi. I am dialing in from ATL. I am the founder of Earth Angels, nonprofit organization, and the legacy is me. So happy to be here. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Next, we have up Natalie Lamb. Introduce yourself to the people, Natalie.
Hey, Victoria. Thank you again for having me. It's such a pleasure. We had such an amazing talk the first time. So excited to hear what everyone brings to the table. I'm a life, relationship, and grief coach as well as an author. And that's enough for now. We can jump into more as we keep moving on.
Exactly. Next, we have up the beautiful, the lovely Jamie Smith. Jamie, introduce yourself to the people.
Thank you so much. I'm Jamie Smith, and I live in Northwest Arkansas. I'm a writer, small business owner, and an author. The reason I differentiate between writer and author is I write for other people, but then I also just published my first book.
Yay. And last but not least, we have the fabulous Tedrah Paul in the building. Tedrah, introduce yourself to the people.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry, my camera's not on. It was moving a bit dodgy earlier. So we got to work with what we've got. But my name is Tedrah. I am a Christian and relationship coach. And I work with women all over the world, helping them grow their relationship with God and, grow who they are and find their purpose on this earth that we live on.
Yes, 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 yes. And we have one more that's coming into the building shortly. Shawnti Refuge. For you guys that don't know Shawnti, Shawnti was on the show previously. She is an author, she is a life coach, and she has there as well as journals. So she'll be joining us shortly. So, ladies, everybody's from different time zones, and I am so glad that you guys were able to fit me into your schedule. I'm gonna jump right in for the sake of time. So, as you guys know, I'm Victoria J. I'm the host of 12th Street Talk Back. I am a minister and I'm an all around just good person. I want to see the best in people, and I believe that God has me on a journey to bring people together to help heal. I went through a healing journey. I'm still going through a healing journey. And that's the purpose of this show. He redirected the show for the need of the people. And we are all kingdom kids. So let's help one another out. Let's grow together. Today, I wanted to bring a group of ladies together because these ladies were on the show this season and we had wonderful, wonderful conversations, but I want to dig in a little bit more. So, my first question for you guys is how does it feel being a woman at this time in your life? And if anything that you could leave behind for our young women, what would it be? And before you answer that question, I'm a Kamala Harris fan all the way. So for me, I'm excited about this opportunity that we might possibly have in the United States. But who wants to go first? What's up, guys? It's your girl, Victoria J from 12th Street Talk Back. here to tell you about my new friends and partners, BetterHelp. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this podcast. Guys, did you know BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it is 100% online. That's right. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, all you need to do is answer a few questions about your preferences and your needs during therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then sit back, relax, kick up your feet, because you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable via text, phone, video call. You can even schedule live sessions when it is convenient for you. And if your therapist is not the right fit for you for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional cost. With BetterHelp, you get the same quality and professionalism that you can expect during an in-office visit, but with a therapist that is custom picked for you. Better scheduling, flexibility, and the best part of all, at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/12th Street. That's better, HELP.com/12th Street. And tell them your girl, Victoria J, sent you. I've also linked it in the description below. Head on over to BetterHelp today and get the help that you need at betterhelp.com.
Jump in there. I will say that it's exciting to see women's movement that we have. Of course, there's always, more steps that we need to take, and I believe we will be able to take. But it's exciting to see that we are crushing many of the myths, many of the things that blocked us from going forward. I think there's becoming more an acceptance of women being able to stand firm, tall, intelligent, amazing, taking up space. I think, years before we were kind of taught not to take up space. So we are loudly taking up space unapologetically and showing forth that as we take up the space, we can not just, not, I don't want to say dominate the space because I don't think that's necessarily the choice. I think that we stand, in equality and equity with everyone else that's in the room, to the point of what do I want to leave behind? I have two daughters. So what I always have taught them and wanted them to carry is that one, you get to take up space. Two, you get to pivot as much as you need to pivot. I'm a true believer in writing your own definitions of what success is, what beauty is, what it is to be a woman, right? And so write that definition and rewrite it as many times as you need until you get where you want to be and feel content and confident in that space. To be honest and have integrity and to value yourself. One of the things I have always told my daughters is I want you, when you wake up, to be able to look in the mirror and feel proud. But I also want when you come home that you can look in the mirror and still feel proud. And those are choices that you make. So when you honor your choices, right? And the power in a choice, right? That we get to move in a way that shakes the foundation and shifts us to positions that we want to be in. And I think in all aspects, relationships, career, our walk with God, I think all of that, the definition underneath is I get to choose and I get to own my choices. And then I keep pivoting until I become the person that I am most proud of.
I had the pleasure of talking to you in the middle of the summer, and you said the exact same thing. I thought you were going to mention there that you wrote 2 books to your daughters, and I love that when I talked to you about things that you wanted them to know
Yeah,
about
yeah,
you. You left that behind for them, and I thought that was amazing that you did
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's called What I Want You to Know. It's under the Wisdom Chronicles. It'll be like 6 or 7 books in that. The first one was called Open Your Eyes, was just generic for everyone. The second one is called What I Want You to Know, and it was written for them over the lifetime that I had them. My oldest is 23, and I just published it a year ago. And it really was just wisdoms I want them to carry in case I wasn't here. When they got a certain age, they would have that information in hand to help them, help guide them.
I love that. I love that. I did. I did. And that stuck with me. Hanan, how about you?
So, so for me, being raised in Ghana and having been a product of two cultures that are very dominated. So both my Lebanese culture, so I'm Arab and Ghanaian, Arab and Black mix. So West African culture and Arab culture, both very strong, male dominated. And then too, on top of it all, I was orphaned. So not only was I in that kind of environment, but then I lost my shell. Being orphaned is like a turtle without a shell, and so it was layers of suppression and oppression, if you will. And so my legacy, and one of the things that one of my strongest message is that self-belief can get
Mm-hmm.
you through everything. And self belief is the reason I'm here today. My message is about sharing what you can do alone and what you can do without support. Many people have great parents and amazing grandparents, and you hear phenomenal stories of, oh, someone came in and helped me, or, oh, I had this amazing boss and leader that showed me this or that. My story is that I didn't have any of those things, and yet I made it. And so I share with women, especially young women, that they can too. And that if you believe in yourself, and that if you want something enough, you can attain, you can conquer, you can survive, you can make it, not just survive, but thrive. And so my whole, my 42 years has been a testament to just that. And so my followers, the people I speak to, those that support me, that is, I think, the number one message I stand for, is that you can make it even when you don't have the support that we all need.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and not just make it, but be successful. So, and that's to women, that's to men, that's to everybody out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think primarily young women look at me and think, wow, like if she made it, I can too. And so that is, I think I answered both your questions in that answer.
Wow. That was
Thank you.
that I've heard it before, but that was amazing. I mean, the resilience for one, because I know the story. For
Yes.
those of you guys that haven't heard Hanan's story, you definitely have to go over to our YouTube channel and watch her and Natalie's conversation. Fabulous, fabulous women. Looks like we had Shawnti Refuge pop in the building, and we got Kimberly coming as well. So, guys, I don't know if it's my internet or their internet, but Lord, work with us. Uh, the next we have in the house, we have, well, before I introduce Jamie, welcome, 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 Shantae. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I already gave your kind of introductory. We've got one more coming in. Kimberly Christian will be in, and she's actually a therapist and a Christian life coach. So she'll be joining us shortly. Jamie Smith, you're
Yes, ma'am.
next. So how is it for you being a woman in this day and time? And if
So
anything, what could you leave behind for your young people?
the I hate this answer, but I would say it's complicated. because on many fronts, I feel like as women, we're really learning to, as the other ladies have shared, take up space and to own our stories. But I'd love to see more of that and have it be less of a thing, if that makes sense. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
it being a remarkable, unusual thing, have it be the norm. Have it be something where we're seen as equals. And I know we're seen as equals in the eyes of God, but in how we communicate and how we tell our stories, I'd love to see more of that and see that grow. And as far as what I feel like I want, what I can help pass on, I'm going to read to you my life mission statement. It's also my business mission statement. It says to inspire people towards better self awareness and ownership of their inherent value, core beliefs, and purpose through my own personal vulnerability, storytelling, and leadership. So that's what I want to see is by being vulnerable and being willing to share my story, that inspires others to be able to look at themselves and see what their value is and what their core beliefs are and what how those two uh, shape who they are and what they bring to the world.
Wow. Well, that's a mouthful.
A whole lot. Don't ask me a question if you want a short
Oh,
answer.
yeah, you did. You did. I don't think it was complicated at all because I know you and we've had great conversations. So that sounds right about you. Um, your heart is so big and you love God so much. So I kind of expected that response from you. So Tedrah, how do you feel about being a woman in this time?
You
Um,
know what?
what this
I
world?
think I kind of agree with Jamie, and I love being a woman in this time in life because there's so much, I feel like there's so much growth happening as women. We're really developing ourselves and we're really maturing and finding who we are. Where I think, like, back in the day, a lot of people, a lot of women didn't stand up for themselves and they didn't, know their rights and things like that. And I think it's important to understand that as much, like, I see a lot of women saying, I want to do this, I want to do that. I really want a stronger relationship with God. I really want, to have those friends that are there for me, that support me. And it's like, you say you want it, but you're not taking the step forward to actually do those things. It's all well and great for us to sit here and say, yeah, I want this, I want that, I want this. God will provide, yes, but we also have to put in the work and actually stand up and say, this is what I need to do to get to where I am so that I can make this life that God has given me the best that I can. But yeah, that's mine.
Excellent. Excellent. My true Tedrah. My true Tedrah.
um,
Shawnti
All right.
Refuge.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself to the people. And the question was, how do you feel being a woman at this time in your life? And what, if anything, would you like to leave behind to impact our young women?
Well, again, thank you for having me. My name
You're
is
welcome.
Shawnti Refuge. No problem. I am a certified mental health coach, mental health advocate, keynote speaker, and author, and I help women to release, heal, and thrive with the art of guided journaling. To answer your question, reflecting on being a woman at this time in my life, I feel a mix of strength, resilience, and a deep sense of responsibility. Um,
Mm,
I've I've navigated through significant challenges, and I continue to grow from them. And it's taught me the importance of self love, authenticity, and mental wellness. I'm everything mental wellness. And what I like to leave behind for our future young women is the message that they are enough as they are. I want them to understand the power of self discovery through journaling and the importance of prioritizing their mental health and the value of kindness to themselves. And I hope to inspire them by helping them to embrace their vulnerabilities and strengths, and to know that they don't have to conform to anyone's expectations in order to feel worthy. And if they can learn to truly love and accept themselves, then they can change the world and maybe even the world around them.
Amazing, amazing responses, ladies, all of you guys. I mean, just with the personal conversations I've had with all of you, I kind of expected along the lines of this. For me, I think getting the message out there is the most important part of my life right now. Getting God's word out there. If I could leave them behind anything, is for them to have a relationship with their heavenly Father. That's my mission statement right now. For me, being a woman right now, uh, God has brought me so far. I can't believe that I'm sitting here right now. In fact, I was just thinking that as I was looking at all of you guys show up individually, that, God really, we really don't know the thoughts that He has for us, because this would have never been a turn that I took in my life. And look, I'm here with 6 amazing women, and I thought I was going to be in the corporate world all my life in retail and makeup and clothes and hair, but you never know the twists and turns that He takes you. And for me, I think that uh, I don't want to cry, but I'm a big old crybaby. I love the fact that He touched me and He's using me and He's developing me. So if I can leave anything behind, it's His word, His love, that agape love, not the stuff that the world is given to us, but that real authentic love of Jesus Christ. So that's my mission. Oh gosh. Kimberly just texted. She's coming in just a minute, guys. So we'll have one more pop in. Let's move on to the next one. I kind of threw something in there after that question. I wanted you guys to tell me, because I don't know if it's going on here. Pretty much it's going on everywhere. What barriers do you guys think that we can break down in our educational system as women? We've got a lot going on in our educational system. We all know about all the horrific shootings that happen in so many different states and around the world. But right now, coming out of the pandemic, I have a lot of educators in my family and friends, and they're having it rough trying to get our children, our young people, to adjust back to getting back to what the normal school system looked like. What kind of barriers do you think that we can contribute from the outside to help our educators get them where they need to be? So I think one of the teachers put it best that I know. They're a little bit rambunctious, and it hasn't stopped since the pandemic. I'll start with you, Shawnti. What do you think that we could contribute?
There are a lot of barriers that are in place when it comes to that, and especially as a woman. Some of them, one thing I know, gender bias in STEM. That's one of the most significant barriers, and it discourages girls from pursuing careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. So I think we need more girl-friendly STEM education. And I think we could, as a representation of women, create membership programs, push for curriculum changes, and so girls could see themselves as worthy in the success of STEM, because we're smart. Let's face it, we're smarter than men anyway. So girls feel that way. We know we are, but they need that push, and they need to see people who look like them, so they can be like, okay, well, she can do it, I can do it. Yes, you can. Access to resources, that's another thing. There's a lot of economic disparities. And for
Uh-huh.
girls, especially in underprivileged communities that don't have the same access to educational resources like technology, tutoring, a lot of those things like tutoring and technology, those are, for pay. And a lot of the girls that are in underprivileged communities, they can't afford that. So we need to make it more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
We need to address sexual harassment and violence.
Mm-hmm.
School is supposed to be a safe place for our kids to learn. I know when I was going to school, it was a safe space. And I can't say that it is, these days because, the things, like you said, the stuff that's going on. And now we have, teachers being inappropriate with students. We have to, and it's not just, males, females do it too. And we have to combat that. I mean, that's disgusting. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so as women, we could push for stronger policies, stronger support systems, and then respect on
Mm-hmm.
consent to ensure that schools are safe. Who wants to send our child to school and it's not safe?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of people are starting to homeschool now
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah. I
encouraging.
had a girlfriend that homeschooled for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and you just see so much. I always say that I'm thankful that I don't have any small young ones in school right now.
I'm
I
thankful too
know.
because.
Yeah. I know, Tedra, you got little ones. How do you feel about the barriers and the things that we're facing in the school system right now?
Like this is literally a conversation we're having with all my siblings the other day because all of us, we've got like kids the same age. And we're just so like, I hate it, but it's so scary to think about all the things that are going to be happening. Like you're saying, like everything that happens in these schools, like you send them to school and you're scared and you're like, what are they going to learn today? What's going to happen? How are they going to behave? How are they going to be treated? And you have all these questions going on. And it's like, there's not a lot that we can do. We can't control what the government decides, what people are doing, what they say, how they're going to act. But what we can do is we can teach them right and wrong. We can always remind them that at any given time, you can talk to God, say a prayer. And for us as parents, it's important to pray for our kids. It's important to pray for them and remind them and just ask God to protect them and to help them get through these next 12 years of education and help them to overcome everything that they're going to go through, because it's sad, but there's not much that we can do about it. Like, I'm one person, I can say something, but then there'll be 10 people behind me that want the other thing. So I think it's such a tough one. It's really tough.
I think that's the world that we live in now with everything, not just with the school. It's hard to push your agenda. I think all of us have something that we're trying to get out there into the world, and it is hard. What it takes a fist, a mighty fist, like our parents used to tell us. It takes a group of people. What about you, Natalie? What do you think? What are some of the barriers that you think?
I think my mm, so I think if we look at it as a whole holistic thing and across the board, I think as the education system, we never have tried to really build up children. I think that we have pushed knowledge and get this answer and move in that direction, but we never really pushed emotional intelligence, teaching
Mhm.
them the respect one to another, how to navigate when you are feeling uneasy, when you're angry, how to deal with your emotions. Not that teachers already have a lot, right? They have the curriculum that they have to teach. But I think for like each individual class, I think if teachers learn how to, with the curriculum, add it in, teaching emotional intelligence, teaching them how to soothe themselves, teaching them self regulation and emotional regulation, I think we would see a pivot even in each classroom. But children are not given those kinds of education, right? And in all the years that education has been created, we have stuck with the same platform for, however many years it's been created. But we need to pivot that because it's not working anymore. You interject when you talked about COVID, right? And how that change happened. You had where now I don't have to be as regulated. I'm at home just with myself and my siblings who I'm used to, or I'm just home alone. and I can move at whatever phonetic speed I want to move. You interject then social media and the quickness of it. We are now raising children with such quick emotions. You sit there and scroll, and as adults as well, right? We go from happy to sad to laughing to crying to within the matter of 5, 10 minutes, you could feel almost the full gamut of emotions that
Mhm.
humans house. But what do you do with that? It's just quick. It's moving. It's never settled. So a part of what we need to do is teach people how to settle themselves, how to calm themselves within their space, and only you can be responsible for that. But if we teach children, we're talking about children, how to pause, right? How to identify what's going on within them and then to choose appropriately, because again, choice is everything. We can change how we move, not just as children, but it's lessons that adults need as well, because we don't know how to pause. We
Mhm.
barely know how to be self regulated, right? We fly off the handle at the moment that something happens. And then I'm asking children whose minds are not fully developed to be more advanced than the adults that are around them. So if I look at the children, I must look at the adults around them, because they're getting their cues and understanding from somebody. They're not just creating it out of thin air. But
Mhm.
if we don't attach the two, right, the adults and the children, and we emphasize on educating adults as much as we educate children, I think we will always fall in this little abyss that we find ourselves in. That
Mhm.
the answer to the change is much more layered, I think, than we want it to be, because we would love to throw all of it on children and us not consume any of it.
Right. Right. I always look at it like we're walking around in the wilderness right now. It seems like after the pandemic, nothing went back the same. And I know people use that as a memes. It's never going to be the same, but we are the structure that we used to have in the classroom. I'm seeing it across the board, in the news, different things going on, teachers getting beat up, and it's just a lot to intake. So I think, as Tedrah was saying, it's going to take more than one person to change it, but it's not just the children, it is educating the parents as well. What about you, Jamie? You're a writer, and your mind is always going. What do you think about it?
Well, I come from a different perspective a little bit, in that I don't have kids, so I'm not actively involved in the school system. But much of my career has actually been covering the education system through journalism, and so what I see from the outside looking in is a growing movement towards away from cooperation and communication. It feels like there's more of a with the schools and with families, it's more of a us versus them dynamic instead of a collaborative. And they always say that they want to do more collaboration and they want to work with each other, but I'm not seeing that happening. And so I think more collaboration on values, um, because whether we like it or not, our kids are, people's kids are going to be learning values in the school system because they're there for 8 hours a day. And
Mhm.
so, if we start collaborating more on values, like respect, like don't talk back to the teacher, like someone said, don't hit the teacher. That to me would have never occurred to me as a child to hit my teacher. I think that that's something that, and I think that's also the woman in me coming out, is that I want us to communicate better and collaborate better instead of fighting against each other and having it always be this us versus them
Yeah.
scenario.
I think I picked that up in a documentary that I was watching last weekend. It was a history documentary on Moses, and they were breaking it down, and they had all these scholars, I mean, from all around the world, and they all came to the same conclusion that God was trying to teach them when he brought them out of Egypt how to work together, how to have the same faith. And I
Yeah.
think that's the bulk of it. I think, Natalie, you said it. Tedrah, you said it in your own way. Jamie, you just said it in your own way. Shawnti, you said it in your own way. We've got to get focused on how can we get back together to togetherness, because one person can't do everything. And I think that's what the directions we're going. My mother used to have all these little sayings where, you're going left and I'm going right. And I think that's what it is. Some are going left, some is going right. There's no room to talk. I learned something through my last 3 years of this journey is I was answering and listening to combat instead of listen just to listen. I didn't have to agree with everything my children or someone else was saying, but I was listening to combat because I was taught that old school way, old school mother. And I think that we're past that. And I think now it's time for us to focus on, okay, I've heard you. It's like tug of war. You pulled this way, we pulled this way. Now, how can we all meet in the middle and get something done to help our educators? I pose that question for the educators because they are the ones that went to school, rolled up their sleeve, and some of them don't even have children and having to deal with our children in this day and age. And I don't know about you guys in North Carolina, substitutes and bus drivers. I mean, we have had so many teachers quit that we've got more substitutes than we have teachers in the classroom right now. We have more kids not getting home on the bus because we don't have bus drivers, because adults are afraid for their lives, because if a fight breaks out on the bus, they don't want to be the one to break it up, or they don't want to get body slammed like we saw the teacher in Florida a couple of years ago by someone that may or may not have a disability, but still, it's still togetherness. I did a piece a long time ago about if your child does have something like a disability, it should be a form of communication there with the school system first. This is how I handle Billy at home if this is what was to occur. This is how I handle Nicole at home because she's special needs. I don't like saying special needs, but she's not like the rest. So, with that being said, if we don't have that dialogue, we're going into the school systems right now, and it's kind of, some of it is kind of like children raising children, because myself, I didn't start maturing until I hit my 40s. And my mother used to tell me that, and I used to spaz out like, I'm grown, but really I wasn't grown mentally. And everything started to come together in my late 40s. So I think it also has a lot to do with the brain maturing as well. But we can have some of these hard conversations that nobody wants to have. What about you, Hanan? Because I know you have.
So I have kids. I'm
Yeah.
a glass half full kind of girl. So I agree with, everything everyone said, but I also see the other side. And let me tell you, kids are so much smarter now. My
Mhm.
13-year-old son knows more than me in terms of when I was at his age. Not street smarts, because that I beat him any day because my life was hard. But in terms of information, in terms of a math whiz, in terms of science, like back of his hand, in terms of his phone, in terms of IT. I went to a graduation a few months ago, and there were 15 valedictorians from that high school.
Mhm.
15. Have you heard of that before?
Mhm.
I haven't. I heard of one, I've heard of two, I've heard of three tying. I have never heard of 15. They all had over 4.0s. Kids are smart these days. So don't make that mistake and think that, oh, it was, some things are better than they were and some things are worse. Like, kids speak up now. Back in the day, we did not speak up. Just like you were saying, I mean, like we've all said, we were all shushed and quieted, and right, it was a generational thing, it was an age thing, it was a cultural thing. But regardless of your culture, things are different now. Children have choices, children get to speak. We were seen and not heard back in the day, especially in my life. I mean, being orphaned, nobody cared what I had to say. I didn't know what I liked and didn't like until I was 18, and that was just food. I was like, oh, I actually don't like raw broccoli. I was 18 when I figured that out. So I think that it's not okay to generalize. And I think that there are some incredible stories out there of brilliant children today. I think a big part of it is the parents, and the parents were raised the old school way. So it makes you think something wasn't right in the old school way, because the parents are in their 20s and their 30s, some of them are in their 40s. And and you meet incredible children, you meet incredible teachers, you walk through remarkable schools. But I believe in the power of one. So what can I do? What can I do to make a difference in my little space? And what can I do? I can raise my children right. I can teach them to respect. I can teach them to be kind. I can teach them to see something, say something, be brave. You see, mommy, be brave my whole life. This is what I've shown you. This is the best gift we can give our children, is for them to be brave, for them to say, no, I don't want that. Yes, thank you. No, thank you. Don't do that. That is such a gift, to raise your children with that bravery, or for them to see what bravery looks like. And so that's what I do, is that I lead by example. I show my children how I talk to others, how I treat others, what kindness looks like, what self-assertion looks like. Their school is a 5 out of 10. We live in the country in Cartersville, Georgia. Their school is a 5 out of 10, but guess what? My kids are A students. They are 10 out of 10 kids, because their mother raised them that way. And so the teacher is supplementing what I already gave. And I didn't come with, oh, my parents did, or I had the best, or no. I juiced from all that I knew and everything that I've lived, and I'm giving it to my children. So that's what we can do. And if you're into government and into state, because really state level is where all the important rules are made. So yes, you should try and rally for those things that matter in the state government. But if you don't have that kind of power, but you have children, then you need to teach them to be kind, to be respectful, because a lot of our problems are that the children, those that have been mentioned at least today. Now, some barriers that I have faced are like, my kids are lumped in with the bad kids. So like my kids who would never hurt a fly, who are really good boys, who do what they're told, who get 4.0s, who get their A's, their homeworks and everything done, they're told to just, keep quiet, follow the rules. It's militant. The school is run militantly. But I get it. It's because they don't want all the bad things that you all mentioned to happen. So my barrier is rather the opposite. I wish the teachers and the school would relax a little bit on my kids, because it's so like regimented. You sit down, you work all day, 8 hours, and like somebody said, it is regimented. It's, you know the answer or you don't. My 13-year-old son is doing math that I did in college. Make no mistake, these children are brilliant. So it's not that they're not getting the smarts and they're not getting, the education and the background. They are brilliant children. The alpha generation they're going to change this world. I have no doubt about it. But there are barriers, because yes, they can pick up a phone and look at everything. But where's the mother? Where's the father? Where's the grandma? Why didn't you set limitations on the phone so the kid couldn't watch those things? So yes, and you have to take control. If you're a mother, if you're a father, if you're a parent, if grandparent, whatever, the power of one is a beautiful thing.
Brilliant answers from all of you guys. I see it from all scales. I think the way that I was looking at it a little bit, before we move on to the next question, was, like you said, the bad apples. And there's not really a bad apple, because even if we're not a parent, we can show each other something different. And it may be you, for instance, or your children, for instance, that can show them another way. I do think that we have a lot of broken homes, and a lot of conversations need to be had, maybe even with the parents. Most of you guys up here are life coaches or therapists. So you see that brokenness all day of not being able to communicate. And I think that's a big thing. I know we have some brilliant kids out here. I've got a niece that almost, 6 years ago graduated. When you said, have I ever seen 15 valedictorians graduate? She was one of them. And she got a full ride to Texas A&M. And now she's a veterinarian.
Yes.
And when I saw that, I had never seen anything like that in my life. 15.
It's really remarkable. It's really remarkable how smart these kids are.
So I think they are our future. I think that the barrier, maybe we could be a little bit more hands-on, whether we have kids or not, and helping protect some of our educators. They are leaders. If they don't lead the classroom, how are our children going to have futures? Yeah, they can figure out some things on their own, but they're educators there for reasons. They're educators in the school system, in college. They're there for a reason. We've got mental therapists up here. You guys are here for a reason. I would never try to throw my hat in that realm because I don't give the best advice. But at the same token, you're here for a reason. I think that all of us have a unique position to play when we start talking about things like this. But I just thought maybe I would throw that in there to see what you guys' perspective was. But let's move on to with the massive layoffs that we had during the pandemic, which was still going through, the dwindling benefits, high cost of housing, the economic situations in households, and just a whole genre of stuff. How likely would you have someone or give someone the advice to start a business? Because all of you guys have businesses, whether it's a business, whether it's an organization, whether it's nonprofit or not. In this day and time, would you give somebody advice to start something like mental health coaching? I know you, Shawnti, you do. I see you all the time with your books, and Shawnti with your books, and you got your speaking events. And I know you, Hanan, you've got your nonprofit. Tedrah, I see you all the time on social media as well. And Natalie, you have your life coaching and therapy. Would you advise someone to open a business right now, especially women, because we don't have the backing that we should? We should have passed that hump a long time ago with the wage barriers and all this good stuff. And how do you guys feel about where we're at as women in this society? Have we broke down those barriers where we can walk into a financial backing we need? Or walk into the same field and get paid the same as our male counterparts? And I'll start with you, Tedrah.
I think if you're going to start a business right now with everything going on, I think you really have to be committed. Mm-hmm. And I think you really have to know and understand that this is going to be hard work. This is going to take a lot of energy and a lot of time, especially in the beginning. You're going to get frustrated, you're going to get angry, and you have to be so prepared for those things, because what you don't want to do is go through all of that and put it on your partner, your husband, your wife, your kids, because it's a lot. Running a business is a lot of work. And when you have so much that you have to do, so much things that God is putting in your heart to do, it can feel draining. But one thing I would say is it can also be the best decision you ever make. Like for me, starting my business was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it grew my relationship with God. It grew my relationship with my kids and my husband. It changed my life. Yes, there are going to be things that, that you struggle with. Like, for example, you might not have the clients that come in straight away, and it's not going to happen straight away. Best believe, like the people that tell you, oh yeah, do this, and then you'll be doing this within a month. It's not going to happen. I will be real with you. It will not happen within a month, because there's a lot of growth that has to happen within you as a person. And there's also a lot of growth that has to happen with your business. And as you're developing all of those things, it's not an overnight thing. I read something once that said it takes 10 years for your business to be massive or big. And it can. But you can also still happen in 2 years or 5 years, but it takes a lot of commitment, and it takes a lot of understanding if someone says no, because not everybody's going to say yes.
Yeah.
You have to prepare yourself for that no, and you have to prepare yourself for seeing other people that are in the same field as you doing better, because they might have started a long, long time ago before you. But at the same time, their purpose that God has given them is going to be different to your purpose. So you also have to, there's so much to understand. And in terms of like getting paid as much as the men, I'm sorry, but I'm here for it. My gender does not make it any different for you to be getting paid more than me. Like, we should be on the same. If I'm doing the same job as you, I should be on the same wage as you, irregardless to your gender. Like, we're doing the same thing. If anything, I'm probably working harder because my brain is working more because I'm an even. I'm thinking of the A, B, C, D, F, E. You as a man, you're thinking A and Z, and that's it. So, men and women paid the same. We're on the same level. I'm not below you just because I am a woman. No, we gotta be paid the same. Definitely.
I agree. And I needed some laughter. Welcome, Kimberly. How are you today?
Well, hi, Queens. I'm so glad to see you guys. Can I just tell you, I did this on purpose. This is how not to get invited next year.
Oh, no.
And she's going to say, oh my gosh, I don't think so. But
you know what?
She's not like that. She's so gracious. She just let me in. I totally had the time wrong. It was my fault. I'm so sorry, but I'm very
sorry,
glad
guys.
to be here.
I could have swore I put Eastern Standard Time, but I wasn't thinking. I've been all over the place this week. No worries. I am glad you all just said yes on a set. No worries. Introduce yourself to the ladies real quick, and we have jumped into 3 of the questions, so I'll pull you in for the last 3.
Oh, okay, awesome. What would you like me to include in my introduction? Anything?
Whatever you want us to know.
Okay. Well, my name is Kimberly Christian, and I'm a faith-based clinical social worker practicing in the great and hot state of Texas. So that's where I am right now. It's probably, yay, got some other Texans in the room. Awesome. I'm really excited about it cooling off eventually, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So I love therapy. I love Jesus with all my heart. And I have, I think, successfully combined those 2 things together. I just launched an online program earlier this year called The Christian Method. And it is an on-demand online class. People can work at their own pace where they learn cognitive behavioral therapy from a biblical worldview. So I am super excited about that, trying to get the word out about that. I also am a wife of almost 20 years. I have 4 children, which is another reason why I tend to run late. I am just all over the place trying to get everybody where they need to go, which can be very difficult because my husband is working. How many of you guys have ever heard of the ministry by Mike Winger called Bible Thinker? Anybody heard of that before? No?
No.
So pleased to share this with you. So you guys, if you are believers, if you are interested in that kind of thing, his whole ministry is about how to think biblically about everything. And the reason why I'm bringing him up is very graciously, they have decided to align with me just in the last couple of weeks to let me be a mental health consultant with them, because they get a ton of questions that come in about, I mean, you can imagine everything under the sun, but when it comes to counseling and things that are related to mental health, I could tell that there was a little bit of a gap in answering those things thoroughly. And so I put myself out there and they said yes, and I'm really grateful to be doing that. So I just wanted to offer that plug for any of you guys that maybe you work with somebody or you are somebody that just would really benefit from that ministry. I know I've learned a ton from them. So again, I'm happy to be here.
I am excited to have you. So we went through a couple of questions, but we're going to move on with the one that we're on right now. And we're going to move over to Jamie. Jamie, you want to answer our last question with the massive layoffs and all that good stuff and our economy being in a delicate place? How do you feel about launching a business right now? Because you're a writer, you ghost write or freelance write, I believe, as well. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? And I know you just published a book as well.
I am sitting here trying not to squirm with happy. Because I am very passionate about this topic. I was laid off from my journalism job 15 years ago, and I started Jamie's Notebook, which is my writing business. And ultimately, when I first started it, I told myself it was to get writing clips that weren't newspapers so that I could get a job with another agency. But then my husband encouraged me eventually to just take it to be my full-time only job. And I'm so grateful for that for so many different reasons. The flexibility, the fact that I now live with, I already had disability, but or a disability, but now I live with chronic illness. And so being self-employed has allowed me to continue that instead of having to completely quit the workplace. And so I think that as someone who has faced in the last major economic crisis, I faced needing to start my own business. I think that it's a wise thing for women to do. And I think that it provides us not only with more income, but it also provides us with a way out of the situation if we are forced out.
Shawnti, I see you on the move a lot. And just what Jamie just said, someone said that to me yesterday. I think we as people, not just as women, we need to have multiple streams of income. I see you doing that. You're out there all the time. I don't know when you sleep. What do you think about the question?
There are challenges when it comes to having your own business and starting a business. I would never tell someone not to start a business unless they are not serious. You have to be serious. You have to be committed. No, I do not sleep. As a matter of fact, when we get off of here, I'll be napping. But I still maintain my 9 to 5 along with what I do as a mental health coach. So, and that's what's funding my business along with my clients. So I would never say, no, don't start a job. Don't start a job. It's not about the money per se. The money's going to come. If you're passionate about what you do and you're helping people, you're really helping people and not just trying to take the money's going to come. So I'm not even worried about the money. But because my 9 to 5 finances, my lifestyle and all that stuff, you have to be resilient, you have to be creative, and you have to be willing to constantly learn. It's not just taking what you know right now and thinking it's going to carry you over. No, and then you have to know when to pivot. You can't keep doing the same thing all the time and expecting streams to come. Like you said, multiple streams of income. You name it, I do it.
Yeah.
And that is because I have a message that I need to get out there. So you do whatever it takes. Like for me personally, I am very committed to what I do, and if that means me not going to sleep, that means me missing parties and all this other stuff, I'm going to miss it because my purpose is greater than those temporary things. This is a legacy for my children and grandchildren.
Well said. And with her saying that, the legacy is me. How about you, Hanan? Because that's her brand. The legacy is me, guys. For that.
Yes, yes.
that.
The legacy is me. I just had trademarked this year. It finally went through. If you ever trademarked anything, it's a process and it's expensive. And so I just had that officially done. So it's finally mine. And to very high level summary, what the legacy is me means is that you can write your own legacy. You can be the author of your own life. My auntie who raised me was a very wicked woman, and she often used to say, remember your parents left no legacy behind. Remember your parents left nothing behind. They left no legacy. She said that every day to my siblings and I. And I remember thinking, she's wrong. Like that was just God-given. I always knew that she was wrong about everything she said to me, and everything, the vile, wicked things she did. I always knew she was wrong. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, I was a nurse, and I had just started Earth's Angels, and I had done all these great things, and I thought, wait a minute, I'm a nurse, I have a nonprofit, I have a kid that I'm doing my best with, I'm a ride or die friend, I'm all these things. Wait a minute, the legacy is me. I'm the legacy. I'm what they left behind. I'm the legacy. It was literally like a catharsis. It was an Oprah moment, aha moment. I was working night shift as a nurse, and I literally had that moment, and I was like on my feet, like, wow, amazing. So about the business question, I would say what my advice, because many come to me for advice because I've sort of done it all. When I started Earth Angels, many told me, why don't you join a nonprofit? March of Dimes, my mission was mother and child related. March of Dimes does that every day. Susan G. Komen, join a cause that already exists. I just knew that I wanted to do my own thing. And I knew that, like you were saying, Victoria, I knew that my mission here, one of the things I was destined to do was Earth Angels. And so I just knew, and I pioneered and I trucked through. Could I have gotten more support? Absolutely. There's a saying that, I'm going to say it wrong, but men are judged by their potential and women are judged by their accomplishments. And I think that is what the saying is. And I think is very true. I had to prove myself. I had to run a nonprofit for 12 years to now have a seat at all these different tables where people come to me and ask me for my opinion, because I have been on many a podcast and many a forum, and I'm the only one there who started a nonprofit that's sustainable and is 12 years old. So that experience that I now have under my wings has given me the grit and the confidence to feel like I have a seat along with all the other men in the room. Though I always believed I did here and here, I had to prove myself. So that's unfortunate, but that's changing. All you got to do is get on TikTok, like I was saying, and you'll see that the Gen Z doesn't have the same traumas that we had when we were younger. They know and they believe, all the women believe and know that they are great women. What I would say is that to start a business, what is your end game? Because everybody can pick up a business, but what is your end game? What is your goal? Because if you're just going to start something, get excited about it, and then you hear crickets after 3 months and then let it go, that's a lot of waste of time, money, etc. And we've all done that. We've all been really excited about something. It didn't take off the way we wanted it to, and then now maybe we had to let it go. So I would give advice in terms of, what is your end game? What are you hoping for the business to do? What are you willing to give up? As Shawnti was saying, she said she has to give up her sleep. Is it worth it? But I live in the no regret zone. I don't believe in regrets. So if I really want to do something, I'm going to do it. And I would rather take the risk than lose the chance. And so I would tell that person, I would tell that young woman, is it worth it? Is it worth it for you to have no sleep, to lose your money, to be told a million no's, and for your end game? And if it's not worth all those things, don't do it. But if it's worth it, whether or not you fail or succeed, whether you succeed or not, will you regret? That's what I always ask myself when I self-mother about any decision. Will you regret it? And if you will, by not trying, then go for it. Go for it. And if you fail, like a baby learning to walk, you'll get up again and try again.
This has been the conclusion of part 1 of the Queen's Table Talk, presented by 12th Street Talkback. Guys, this episode was amazing, amazing, amazing. And it was so long, I had to chop it up into a part 1 and a part 2. If you want to see the full 2-hour video, head on over to our YouTube media channel at 12th Street Talkback. Otherwise, September the 5th, stay tuned for part 2 of the Queen's Table Talk. You don't want to miss this second half of this amazing conversation with these beautiful, beautiful ladies. Ladies, again, thank you for stopping by 12th Street Talkback. Peace and blessings to you all. Until next time.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Unlock a new era in podcasting with Unfiltered Studios. Ready to break free from the ordinary? Dive into a world where authenticity meets innovation. Our network isn't just about podcasts. It's a revolution. From nostalgia to movies, sports to self-improvement, find your favorite podcast in an array of diverse shows, only at Unfiltered Studios. Join the movement. Subscribe to Unfiltered Studios today and join the podcasting revolution. Unfiltered Studios, where every voice finds its place. Visit unfpod.com today to find your favorite show.
Unfiltered Studios will help you press record.